for the first time ever, there's at least a chance that the Israeli lobby can be matched by this coalition that is beginning to wake up and realize this is not at all in America's interests.
We've been in power for 6 months, and I was so excited in the beginning, thinking there's nothing we can't do, literally nothing we can't do. But 6 months in, there's literally nothing that we can do, and then we ended up bombing a foreign country, and that upset me so much. And I'm allowed to be upset about it. I can stand here and say
you are allowed.
Well, no, I'm not sure if not according to Mark Levin. And not according to many others, that prioritize another country over our country.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene joined Tucker Carlson to call out the Republican Party in prioritizing Israel's genocide in Gaza over the American people. Now, as a Republican lawmaker, there are some things she can do, including call President Donald Trump out on the fact that he continues sending more and more money in taxpayer funds to Israel for weaponry to carry out slaughter in Gaza. But we'll wait and see if she does that. Now, they covered a lot of topics during this hour-and-a-half long conversation, but focused heavily on Israel, war with Iran, and America First policies. And here she is pointing out just how obsessed Congress really is with the country of Israel, as opposed to, the country that they were elected to represent.
Really, the only issue that all Republicans in the House agree on is that Israel is a priority over the United States. They all agree.
Oh, absolutely, they all agree. Since I've become a member of Congress since 2021, we have voted on 22 resolutions for Israel, 22 of them. All kinds of resolutions, denouncing anti-Semitism, supporting Israel. We voted on 22 of those. It's coming to a point where it's so obvious all the time in everyone's language, the social media posts they put out, the statements that they make. They have to proclaim Israel. They have to proclaim their faith and loyalty in Israel and how Israel is our greatest ally. And it's a statement that has to be made over and over and over again, to the point it's becoming like, wait a minute, what about our own country? What about our own people?
Yeah, what about our own people? Because currently Congress is working to nickel and dime the American people by cutting Medicaid. The question is, will it be a little over $800 billion in Medicaid cuts, or will it be $1.1 trillion in Medicaid cuts? In the meantime, the US government, including under Donald Trump in his second term, has sent tens of billions of dollars of US taxpayer money to Israel for weaponry. I mean, God forbid they pay for their own damn weapons for their genocide in Gaza, but American taxpayers have to fund those weapons, right? Where's the outrage about that, Jake?
Yeah. So this is a super important conversation that they're having. And the reason is the left has been opposed to Israel's aggressive wars, war crimes, and oftentimes the funding of Israel to enable all of those egregious abuses that Israel has. But the problem is that by ourselves, we can't push that boulder up the hill, right? It's a Sisyphean task, right? And the establishment keeps rolling it back super aggressively down the hill. Now, there are some allies on the right. And so you could say, hey, it's not enough. And you could always say that. They're not going to turn on Trump. They didn't magically become liberals overnight, right? Of course not, right? But are they having a real conversation and pushing a lot of right-wing voters to go, hey, wait a minute, why are we funding Israel to no end? Why is Israel so much more important than America? Especially to a right-wing audience, that does not sound good. In fact, it has moved the polling among Republicans. And that is super important because there's no way in the world you could end Israel's influence in this country unless both the right and the left are against it. Because if only one of us are against it, they're gonna overpower us super easily, okay? Because the donor class runs everything in this country. As we've told you a million times, drug companies, oil companies, etc., are even more powerful. So, but in order to beat back any kind of lobby with that kind of power, we have to unite. So that's partly what's happening here. And if you say, yes, but Marjorie Taylor Greene's full of crap, she hasn't done anything. That's actually not true. So there was a boycott bill that came up in the Congress, in the House. It was yet another one of these bills that if any American citizen or business dares to boycott Israel, that the American government will have severe punishment of that person. And she's like, no. And she led a revolt among the Republicans against it and killed that bill. So we're starting to make progress. They're starting to notice, yeah, this special ally hasn't given us anything. All they ever do is take and get us into wars.
So let's talk about why that even is the issue here. How could it be that a foreign government is able to take so much from the American people and the American people get nothing in return other than hostility from other Arab countries, Muslim majority countries? Well, the answer to that is AIPAC. So they talk about AIPAC, they talk about the lobbying group essentially driving Congress's obsession with supporting and providing cover for Israel at all costs. And Greene even revealed how AIPAC pounces on newly elected leaders immediately and argued that they should be registered as foreign agents. Let's take a look.
Everyone's freshman year, AIPAC will take Republicans and Democrats, new members, on a special trip to Israel.
Do they pay for it?
I don't know. I don't know because they didn't take me. I think any special interest group, if they are representing another country, a foreign country, they have to register that way.
Under the Foreign Agent Registration Act, FARA.
We have a law. Yes, they should register under that law.
Why aren't they registered under FARA? I don't understand that.
I think everybody's too afraid to push that issue.
Why?
Tucker, I have no idea. Because I think it's because it's such a strong group that will come against you. They will come against you. They will fund a primary against you. I'll probably get a primary funded against me for even saying this on this show. But you know what? I don't care.
I mean, look, Tucker knows. I mean, Tucker is kind of playing dumb there, but he knows exactly why there isn't this push to get AIPAC to register as, a foreign lobbying group. And that's because anyone who is critical of anything even loosely associated with Israel is immediately smeared as an anti-Semite. If you are a politician, you're going to deal with AIPAC essentially funding a primary candidate, someone who's gonna primary you. They're vicious. If you are an outspoken political commentator, they're gonna come at you with all sorts of smears, arguing that you're anti-Semitic for not supporting the government of Israel, which in no way is representative of Jewish people. It's representative of a horrific government that carries out atrocities on a regular basis with the cover of the United States government. So look, you're right, Cenk. This is the first time in my life that I've witnessed or seen some Republican politicians and Republican commentators speak out against our toxic relationship with Israel. I don't know if it's gonna be enough at this moment to stop the ongoing genocide in Gaza, the annexation of the West Bank, and honestly, this effort to get the United States to fight a regime change war in Iran on behalf of Israel. There's more and more saber-rattling happening as we speak. So I'm worried about that as well. We'll get to Iran in just a second, but I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, I think we're at such an interesting moment in American politics. And I kind of feel bad for people who are ensconced in their bubbles and don't see outside of them. So Ezra Klein, just today or yesterday, said that, hey, don't conflate anti-Zionism or critiques of Israel like Mamdani is doing with anti-Semitism. He's like, that's a disaster for us Jews because the government of Israel is a government and it's doing terrible things. We don't want that on all Jews. Stop saying that anyone criticizing Israel is attacking Jews. You're conflating the two. So Ezra Klein is agreeing with Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And if you don't find that interesting, that's weird, right? Like what? So the only way you don't find that interesting is no, I'm gonna choose to hate these people and I'm not gonna listen, right? So, okay, so in this case, what happened to the Republican voters? For the young Republican voters, and this is under 50, so under 50 is not that young, okay? So it's a big,
relax.
Okay, but it's a big chunk of Republican voters. Support for Israel has gone down by 15 points since 2022. That's a giant number for the entire country, for the entire Republican Party. So now they're underwater. 50% oppose under 50-year-old Republicans. 50% oppose, 48% support, okay? So now when you take those guys, you combine them with the independents that they already lost and the left that they already lost, for the first time ever, there's at least a chance that the Israeli lobby can be matched by this coalition that is beginning to wake up and realize this is not at all in America's interests.
By the way, just to further answer Tucker's question from that last video, the majority of those trips to Israel, they're sponsored by AIPAC's charitable affiliate, the American Israel Education Foundation, which allows it to legally get around a 2007 law that limits lobbyists' direct involvement in most privately sponsored travel. And The Intercept reported a few years ago in 2023 that AIEF got millions of dollars from 8 philanthropic groups, estates, and family foundations. Now let's move on to Iran. So they also talked about the conflict with Iran, and here's Greene revealing how overjoyed her colleagues in Congress were to get involved in yet another war in the Middle East.
It's sick that America is cheering that we bombed another country. Now, okay, let's look at that. Yes, Iran is that they sponsor terrorism. They have killed our military, but our military never belonged over in the Middle East in the first place.
Of course.
I'll argue that all day long. But however, when people that hold power in Washington, D.C., like I do, but everyone I work with is just over the top excited that we may be going to war to kill people. They never think about the innocent people, or they don't care about the innocent people.
It makes them feel powerful.
Yeah, in fact, Senator Lindsey Graham in a piece for the Wall Street Journal today was bragging about how he made all the difference in persuading President Donald Trump to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities. Now, would he ever fight in a regime change war in Iran? Of course not. Would he send a young family member of his to Iran to fight that war? Unlikely. But hey, the defense contractors are paying him buku bucks to keep cheerleading for endless regime change wars in the Middle East, especially on behalf of Israel, and he's gonna deliver and feel real proud about it. Lindsey Graham is a piece of crap. Go ahead, Jane.
Yeah, so I watched that whole interaction. I was stunned by it because my whole life I'm used to Republicans cheerleading for war and violence. So like, oh, here at home, oh, the mass shootings. No, it's not the guns. Everybody should be armed. Everybody should have an assault rifle. Abroad, oh, Iraq war is great. Vietnam war is great. All the wars are great. Wars are awesome, right? Very militaristic, very pro-violence. Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene went on for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes going, violence is terrible. Why would anybody be in favor of violence? We abhor violence. It's for the weak, Tucker kept saying. It's for the weak. And I'm like, wow. I mean, look, I'm the guy who said they will turn, and they'll turn specifically about Israel. I mean, you're seeing it with your own eyes, right? But even I didn't expect that they would do like an ode to nonviolence in the way that they are. And for Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican, to say, but Iran killed some of our troops, but our military never belonged there in the first place. Wow, a Republican saying that in my lifetime. I can't believe it, right? So that is totally real. That is going to all of Tucker's audience, all of Marjorie Taylor Greene's audience, and they're telling them war is not the answer. That's a beautiful thing. You could disagree on everything else, but they're on the right track here.
Now, in the same conversation, she also called out Israel in trying to drag the United States into a regime change war with Iran. So I commend her for saying that and saying it out loud, saying it publicly. But here's my issue with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She still backs Trump 100%. And that's an issue because Trump isn't America first. Trump has prioritized Israel by sending tens of billions of our tax dollars to that country so they can buy weapons from our weapons manufacturers. So these weapons manufacturers become wealthier through taxpayer money. It's a redistribution of wealth from the bottom, from working class Americans to defense contractors, so Israel can carry out its genocide in Gaza while cheerleading for a regime change war that the United States would fight on their behalf. It's disgusting. So you can't say you're 100% behind Trump when he is the leader that is enabling the very thing that you say you're against.
Yeah, so look, that's why we're better than them. And I say that as something that's factual. I don't mean our opinions are better or that we're better people. But if you're talking about honesty, we call out our own side all the time. At least the Young Turks does, right? We called out Biden for being too old. We said he shouldn't run. We said they should do a primary. We've called out the establishment on the Democratic side 1 billion times over. And so when you get to the Republicans, but to be fair to a lot of Democrats too, they get super touchy about touching their own side. Oh my God, the tribalists will be so mad. The cultists will be so mad. And Marjorie Taylor Greene at this late date is still scared of her own tribalists and her cultists, right? So let's keep it real on that. Anna's right about that. Now, having said that, guys, given how immovable the Republican Party has been my whole life, when I am seeing some portion of MAGA at least begin to be honest about war, about Iran, about Israel, about the lobbyists, about the donor class, that is a movement that I did not expect a couple of years back. And that didn't exist a couple of years back. And so why is she still kissing Trump's ass? Because Trump is still daddy in those circles, of course, right? But also they're having a fight over Trump and they know what a child he is. So what I mean by that, guys, is Mark Levin, anytime that, like for when Trump bombs Iran, Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro and go, that's it, we're the true MAGA, we're the true MAGA. True MAGA says Israel first and second and third and 18th and then America, right? And so Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson throughout that conversation keep going to pains to say, that's absurd. Mark Levin and Shapiro aren't America first, they're not true MAGA. Neither is Laura Loomer. She's not against the neocons, she is a neocon, right? So they're calling those things out, but they're battling over the turf of Trump's ego. Because if they make the mistake of attacking Trump, Trump will be like, oh yeah, that's it. I'm going with Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. You hurt my feelings. They know they're dealing with a child, let's keep it real. But Marjorie still loves him, Tucker never liked him, okay? But you could tell when Marjorie talks, she's like, Trump is the greatest. I can't believe anybody criticizes him. And it's like, all right, you sound like one of the Biden ass kissers, to be honest, when you get into your love fest with Trump. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.